Today we're going to talk about the absolute absurdity that is the new siege weapons in the Valheim Ashlands update. Let's get to it. With the Ashlands update, we get two new siege weapons, the Battering Ram and the Catapult, both of which are designed to lay siege to the new fortresses that you find in the Ashlands biome. These fortresses are an integral part of the Ashlands biome because they contain resources that you can only get from within them. The Battering Ram is relatively cheap. It is only going to cost you 20 ash wood, 10 flame metal, and 2 surtling cores. And of course, you need to craft it inside of a workbench area. The Catapult, on the other hand, is going to cost you 20 ash wood and 10 flame metal and 1 cogwheel. And I'll talk about where you can get the cogwheels here in a minute. And you also need to craft that inside of a workbench area. We're going to start off by taking a look at the Catapult. And that is because the Catapult is the most fun. It is the most useless when it comes to sieging a fortress and is completely unnecessary for anything other than a good time. Why do I say that, you ask? Well, let me tell you. First off, it takes a lot more effort to make it. You need a cog in order to make it. And in order to get a cog, you have to more or less already be sieging a fortress because the cogs only drop from the ballistas that's set on top of the fortress. So you need to already be sieging a fortress in order to get a hold of a cog. On top of that, anything that you can fire out of these things does minimal damage compared to the damage that is done from the Battering Ram. Even the explosive rounds, which are the only thing you should really bother firing from the Catapult if you are using it to siege a fortress in the first place, still doesn't do the damage that you would get if you used a Battering Ram. You need to fire at least 3 or 4 of these things just to knock down a chunk of the wall, and that is provided you hit the same chunk of wall over and over again with each of those rounds. The other stuff that you can put in there does very little damage to it, and you can literally put just about anything in one of these, and you can put yourself in them too. We'll talk about all that here in a minute, but as you can see from the other stone cluster that you can put in there, I don't know how to pronounce that word, so I'm just calling it a stone cluster, you can see that it does very little damage to the structure, which means you'd have to craft and fire a ton of these things just to knock down hopefully enough of a chunk that you can get into the fortress to begin with. And all of this is completely made moot by the fact that you don't need either of these to siege a fortress. I show you how to siege a fortress in my ultimate guide to the Ashlands part 1 video, which I'll link down below. If you haven't seen that yet, you should totally check it out. You can easily get inside of one of these and siege them without any type of siege engine at all, and ideally you would want to do that to your first one because these are excellent to make a base inside of. But if you do actually want to destroy a wall to one of these fortresses, it's really easy to do. Clear everything out from around the fortress so you don't have anything attacking you. Have this stuff in your inventory ready to go to make a Battering Ram. Place the Battering Ram down, load exactly 4 pieces of wood into it because that is all you are going to need to power it to knock down the wall. Run up to the wall and knock the wall down, and then you're inside. That's it. That's how easy it is. Now, the Battering Ram has a lot of other really good uses. It is actually a fantastic tool for mining. It can mine pretty much anything. Copper, tin, not a problem. Stone, not a problem. If it's mineable, this thing can mine it. It does not damage the ground though, so you can't actually damage the ground, and for some reason it doesn't damage trees. Yes, it can break a wall that is unbreakable by anything else in the game, but it cannot knock down a tree. Why they decided to do this, I don't know, but I find it very silly. But something that it is absolutely fantastic for is taking it over to the plains biome and quickly knocking down the large stone pillars that form in the plains biome. It knocks them down insanely fast. This is a stone farming machine. In my opinion, it's better for mining than it is for anything else. And that's about it for the Battering Ram. It cannot damage trees, it can damage structures, it can damage stone, it can damage metal, and it's great for mining. Now, the Catapult, on the other hand, is an absolute insane amount of fun. Just because you can't siege with it doesn't mean it isn't a good time. And because I know many of you are wondering, and you probably clicked on the video for it, yes, you can build a bore cannon out of it. If you would like to see a detailed video of that, let me know down there in the comments. We're not going to get into the details of how I built this now, but you can pretty much launch anything out of it. You can launch chickens, you can launch yourself, you can launch a boar, you can launch multiple people or multiple creatures at one time. You can launch yourself mounted. You can launch yourself mounted on a Lox or the new lava dog. Pretty much anything that is laying across this thing will get launched when you activate it. But Firespark, how far can it launch you? Well, it can launch you pretty dang far if you are wearing the feather cape. I set it on top of a mountain and I launched myself from one mountain towards another mountain trying to see if I could land on the other mountain. I did not. I fell short, but this is how far I flew. If I got higher, I could have probably flown a little further. Now, this thing is interesting because it has spikes on the side that you lower when you go to fire it, although you do not need to lower the spikes in order to fire it. You can fire it while you are driving at a, well, you can't fire fire it while you are driving, but you can be driving it around and your buddy can put something in the back of it and launch it while you have it attached to you. But ideally, I think what they want you to do is to detach it from yourself and then lower the spikes and then use it. And it will move around a little bit. If it hits things, it can move around a little bit, and it's kind of hard to get it to be completely stationary and not move at all and hit the exact same spot every time. I'm not saying it's not doable, because it's totally doable, but it's a little finicky when it comes to making it do the thing. Do note that these spikes do an absolutely insane amount of damage. They will damage you and they will damage creatures that run into them. Some things that won't work: if you have someone or something attached to you via the harpoon line will just break as soon as you are flung by the catapult. If you have something attached to you like a cart, that will also just detach as soon as you launch yourself via the catapult. Want to give a massive shout out to my good friend ýᴜⴜ for helping me test a bunch of stuff with this and coming up with the idea to launch ourselves into a portal, because yes, you can definitely launch yourself into a portal, as you saw. We learned a lot from messing around with this thing. Like, it will even launch you when it is laying on its side, and depending on the angle that you have it at depends on how it is going to launch you. The more forward you have it, the straighter it's going to launch you forward, and obviously the more back it's leaning, the more it is going to launch you straight up in the air. We did have difficulty getting it to actually launch straight up in the air. It seems to always give you some type of forward momentum though. Now, the explosive rounds that you can load into this thing do actually damage trees, although I couldn't damage trees with anything else I loaded into it. However, it only damages like one tree at a time, and it's a pain in the butt to hit the same tree over and over and over again. So if it doesn't get it on the first time, you're just wasting ammo for no reason, so it's not a very good tree farm. Although it will also damage stone, but it's kind of dumb to waste your time harvesting stone with this when the battering ram does such a better job. To be honest, I don't know of any real use for the catapult just yet, other than just for fun stuff like launching boars or launching yourself. I attempted to make an elevator with it, however, it didn't pan out. It seems that when it's pushing you, you don't have collision, so it will actually shove you through things. Note that it also doesn't have collision when it is launching something, but it does have collision on the return. So when it's reloading itself, it does actually have collision. Theoretically, you could set up multiple of these and create some type of fast travel, but why you would do this when we have portals, I don't know, considering this thing is so much more expensive to make than a portal. So yeah, overall, I think the catapult is a lot of fun and fun to mess around with. I think the battering ram is the most useful, and I can see a lot of people using it, especially for mining stone and copper and such. It would be really nice if it actually damaged creatures when it's doing its attack animation and damaged trees, but it does not do either of those things. That would make it like the ultimate god tool in this game, but nonetheless, it is definitely the most useful of the two, and it is significantly cheaper to craft one. Anyway, that's pretty much going to wrap it up for this one. Let me know what you all think about these new siege weapons down there in the comments section. Are you excited for them? Do you not really care? Let me know. And if you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the subscribe button and notification bell so you can be notified when I upload other Valheim videos. And if you're looking for some more of my content, you find a link to another one of my videos on the screen right now. I want to give an absolute massive shout out and thank you to all of my channel supporters for helping to keep these videos sponsor free. You all are absolutely amazing people. If you would like to become an official channel supporter, check out the links in the description below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a comment down below. Let me know what you thought. If you're shy, you don't like to comment, just hit that thumbs up button and share your support. Until next time, thanks for watching.